My mic was muted. Let me say that again. News has dropped. The Mets have signed Tommy Pham to a 1-year, $6 million contract. They have now found their fourth outfielder. We'll discuss it a little bit. We also have some other news coming on with the reliever market that the Mets are in on Andrew Chafin, and they have talked about some stuff with Zach Britton, and there's some other talk about the Mets with Francisco Alvarez and all that other stuff. So for those of you who want to leave your opinions in the chat below, please do. What's going on, JJ? Hope you're having a good day. The Mets have signed Tommy Pham to a 1-year, $6 million contract. So let's roll the intro and let's get it going. All right. Well, for those of you who are just tuning in right now, make sure to hit that like button. Be greatly appreciated. Subscribe if you haven't already. We have definitely been getting tons of support recently as this offseason is winding down. So the Mets have signed Tommy Pham. Now, how do I feel about this? I really think that we expressed our concern and our everything on the podcast. We definitely did not get the best feedback on the last episode of the podcast. And listen, if you disagree with us, you disagree with us. That's fine. It's always fine. Listen, we're always brutally honest. That's what we do. We give our opinion. If we don't like something, we're gonna say it. If we like something, we'll say it as well. So that's just kind of how it is. No one's gonna apologize for their opinion. Sorry. But one thing I can tell you right now, Tommy Pham, one of the specialties is left-handed pitching. Is he amazing at it? No, but I think he's kind of at the Darren Ruff level coming in of killing left-handed pitching, where he has this specialty, but it's not at this elite rate, but he could give it to you in a pinch. Obviously, this guy is younger than Darren Ruff, and I think he's going to probably play better than Darren Ruff, because I think anybody can play better than Darren Ruff, because he pretty much plays with a guy with no arms and no legs. So at this point, I mean, the Mets needed their fourth outfielder. They replaced Tyler Naquin. It's definitely a better upgrade compared to Naquin. Am I happy about it? Am I thrilled? Not really. I probably would have gone with the Robbie Grossman route, but there hasn't really been much talk about him. If you wanted an outfielder who killed lefties, I would have probably gone with the Robbie Grossman route, but that's just a different story. It looks like we got a lot of mixed feelings going on in the poll so far of people that like it, they're neutral, and they don't like it. This lineup does not have enough pop compared to the elite teams. Yeah, I agree. I mean, we've talked about this all the time, and we're gonna have a video coming out about some power bats that the Mets should trade for. We also had one about fourth outfielders the Mets should trade for, but that will not be seeing the light of day because the Mets just signed Tommy Pham, who looks like to be their fourth outfielder. So we also had some news about Andrew Chafin and his market possibly heating up, because we didn't really see much about him during the offseason. But now it's starting to heat up, and it looks like the Mets are interested in him. Maybe it's possible that his price went down and his asking price went down, and the Mets have definitely taken a liking to that, and they want to add a lefty reliever to their bullpen. I would 100% take Andrew Chafin. I think that Chafin is definitely a need in this bullpen to just make it a little bit stronger than it is. I just want one more arm. And, this is a brand name that we have definitely talked about, of guys who are proven, can come out of the bullpen and possibly dominate and be big pieces. And I think that Andrew Chafin most likely would be like your fifth best arm in this bullpen. So, continue to load it up. But one thing of the main concern here is obviously the bat. And we have not really made any offensive upgrades. Most of them are bench players at best. Omar Narvaez, who most likely will start, it looks like. And I'll get into that in a second. Omar Narvaez looking to be one of those starting caliber. He is one of those starting caliber players. He was when he had that all-star year a few years ago in Milwaukee. And then we also have Danny Mendick, and then now Tommy Pham. So those are the offensive additions so far. Nothing too flashy. I'm really hoping that the Mets go to the trade market and get some kind of power bat to, knock out one of these pieces that are a liability. For those of you watching right now, make sure to hit a like on the stream. That would be greatly appreciated. So here's the deal. We also got some news about how Francisco Alvarez is not looking to be in the mix. It looks like Francisco Alvarez is not going to be in the mix. And this is from Martino, so grain of salt, of course. But it looks like that the Mets are not looking to have him as a DH. That he most likely will start in AAA Syracuse. Now, listen, I think that Alvarez should be on the opening day roster. I don't think there's really much blocking him. There really shouldn't be much blocking him, and that's the same goes for Beatty. But if they were going to bring him up to be a DH, and we talked about this before and briefly talked about this, Andrew was actually one of the big proponents about this. If they were just going to bring him up to be a DH, just trade him. Like, just get rid of him. Because, there's no real reason for him to be up here as just being a bat. I understand that his bat is incredible and it has the potential to be top notch. But for prospects, especially top prospects, for them to develop into good MLB players, they need their reps at all of their positions that they are capable of. So they need to play every day. They need to get those reps in order to develop. It's a thing. That's something that you definitely need for these guys to come in and, be, productive MLB players. Now, Mark Vientos is a different case because he's kind of just been brought up to be that DH type. That's a different story. He does, playing to his weaknesses and, playing to his strengths, whatever. But we all know that Beatty and Alvarez are capable of, playing into that role of third baseman and catcher. And that's the only way that you're going to see an actual contribution from these guys. What prospects would you give up to get a power bat? Well, we'll probably talk about that, obviously, in the video. We just recorded that yesterday, so that will be out. But I think that a lot of the bats that we do talk about kind of play into addressing another weakness on the team that you're trading for and kind of moving the money or moving whatever it is to that other team with Daniel Vogelbach, who's just making 1.5 million this year. I would assume that Mark Vientos would be in that trade because I think that just pushes him down the depth chart. Again, there's no real reason to have him stashed in AAA when, you could have him. I mean, again, you could have him play at AAA, but I'm just saying, if he wants those major league reps, then that's a different story. The Mets signing scrap. I don't like. Here's the thing about this. I'm not mad, but I don't like it, but I'm not mad. Again, it's a fourth outfielder, so I'm not really going full on ham about it. I think the way you really look at it is basically it's better than Khalil Lee. It's a better option than Khalil Lee as a fourth outfielder. So that's pretty interesting to think about. I mean, I'm just going to tell you, the outfield depth is not pretty. And I can tell you right now, that you have your starting three outfielders, of course, who are, quality players. You're an out. But I can tell you right now that, there wasn't really many options, but I would have traded for a fourth outfielder and make our Jake Marisnick trade at this point. Most of the moves for bats, the Mets are going to have to turn to the trade market if they're going to do that, but it looks like Billy Epler is comfortable with this lineup, and he talks about it being a deep lineup. I don't agree with that, but that's basically just what he's looking at right now, and that's how he feels. Andre, what's going on, man? Do you think the Mets keep Ruff and try to get a trade for him? I think that Ruff is as good as gone right now if you're bringing in another lefty killer. The thing is that the Mets really have a bench pool of guys who all could be possible, platoons or whatever. We've talked about this before. The lack of flexibility. You have three infielders in your bench pool. You have three catchers, and then you have three DHs, a utility guy, and an outfielder now in Tommy Pham. So when you look at those options, you have Beatty, Escobar, Guillorme as your infielders. Your DHs are Vientos, Ruff, and Vogelbach. And then your catchers are Nido, Narvaez, Alvarez. Then you also have Danny Mendick, who signed a major league contract for $1 million, and then now Tommy Pham. So someone's going to have to be moved unless they're going to start some of these major league ready guys as a second unit in AAA, which I doubt because most of them are on major league contracts. So someone is going to get moved, and hopefully they address that, to address other parts of this roster. It probably would have worked well if they worked well even more if they did bring in Carlos Correa, but that's a whole different story. That's water under the bridge at this point, and they're obviously going to pivot to other things. I don't really I'm not really confident with this lineup right now, but maybe they do make an upgrade that they need. But I'm not really expecting much. I'm fully grasping the idea that the Mets are happy with the roster that they have right now, and they're not going to make any major moves. I'll tell you right now. And I know, some people don't want to hear that, but we're not here to tell you what you want to hear. For those of you right now, leave a like on the stream if you haven't already. The Mets have signed Tommy Pham to a 1-year, $6 million contract. Whether you like the move or not, a like on the stream is greatly appreciated. I might have one of my co-hosts come in here. We'll talk about some other stuff, and you guys can flood us with your questions as per usual. We're going to have possibly 2 videos this week, or maybe even 3. We both recorded yesterday for a lot of different things. One of those videos is actually going to be scrapped because it was talking about fourth outfielders. So that's not going to be seeing the light of day because that's just signed Tommy Pham. So stay on the lookout for that. Obviously, we have the podcast every Sunday, which I don't know if will be coming out on Sunday this time. But that's that's to be determined. But there will be a podcast this week, obviously. Just trying to gather any information that's coming out on Twitter right now. Let's see. Any stuff going on here? All right, so Martino is saying signing Pham does not mean an immediate end to Darren Ruff's tenure with the team. Yeah, I really don't know what direction they're going in because they have a lot of guys here. Sign Chafin already? Yeah, I would do it. I absolutely would do it. Why not? I think the bats need to be the main focus, but they want to bolster that bullpen by all means. Listen, I'm all for getting good pitching, but I just want to. I need them to get this lineup better. I really do. Improve the bench. That's fine, but they definitely need someone to slide into that DH role. Okay. Just making sure everything is in. I'm just making sure everything from Twitter. I'm just looking to see if I didn't miss anything. Okay. Boop 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 boop. Okay. All right. For those of you who love your prospects, MLB Pipeline just ranked Francisco Alvarez is the number one catching prospect, and then Kevin Parada as the number 3 catching prospect. So they're number 1 and number 3 at their position, and number 1 and number 3 in our farm system as well. So for those of you who are wondering what Pipeline is up to right now, that's the whole deal. Baseball America actually put 6 Mets prospects in their new top 100 as well. And one of those is Kodai Senga, which they're considering him a prospect, so that's pretty interesting. But I guess, since he is a rookie and this is going to be his rookie year, I guess he is considered a prospect as well. We don't know what he's going to be. So that's basically what you're looking at right now. So number 9 being Francisco Alvarez, that's where he is ranked. Kodai Senga at number 16, Brett Beatty at 33, Kevin Parada at 50, Alex Ramirez at 92, and then 98 being Jet Williams. So that's basically what you're seeing in the Mets prospect rankings from Baseball America. Francisco Alvarez at number 9. He is now that. To me, Parada is the real deal. Yeah, we don't know what's going to go on with Parada because it's possible that he could be an outfielder. He could be a first baseman. We don't know because he does have that athleticism, compared to JT Realmuto, where he could have that versatility. Or maybe he could be behind the plate, but he does not have the defense of JT Realmuto. But he definitely I think he does have a legit bat. So we'll see what happens. I don't mind having 2 star catchers here if that's the case. But we'll see. Yeah, I do like Kevin Parada. I'm gonna probably go see him live when he comes up here in the Hudson Valley. We'll see what the deal is. Tommy Pham is not bad. Yeah, I'm not mad about it. Am I happy about it? No. I just need the guy to behave himself. That's pretty much it. We've had a lot of stories come up about him causing problems in the clubhouse, and the whole argument with Tatis, the whole fight with Jock Peterson, punching him in the face. He's also had some trouble off the field, so I just need the dude to behave himself at this point because the outfield depth is thin. So if they are definitely, um, you know, investing that sort of whatever it is into him, they have to guarantee it. Alvarez and Parada could be elite. I mean, these kids have stealing. They have quite the ceiling. So we'll see what happens. Again, prospects are lottery tickets. You never know, but some scouts are better than some scouts. So, some guys are real deals, and some of them are not. It's just how it is. All right, just making sure that nothing on Twitter that I'm missing because I get distracted way too much. For those of you interested in their Roldis Chapman market, the Marlins, the Royals, and the Padres are among the teams that are interested in him. I'm glad the Mets are not. That guy is a head case. Adam Duvall, for those of you who don't know, he was also another target that the Mets were considering. He is going to the Red Sox on a 1-year deal. I guess Profar sees himself as a starter. That's why we didn't sign him. Yeah, that's the thing. They get started. These other guys get starting roles other places, which kind of, stinks. And it does sting because that's kind of the reason why the Mets have missed out on a lot of bats, because I'd say that their starting lineup is pretty much secured besides from the DH position. And I don't think that most of these guys just want to be regularly a DH. And that's something that I think concerns a lot of them. And we had that whole situation go down a few years ago with the closer role. We already know that Edwin Diaz is our closer, and the Mets, they solidified him in that sole role. So, we had guys like Liam Hendricks, and we had Mark Melancon, guys who wanted the closer role, not come here because of that matter, even if the Mets offered them more. After the Correa mess, nothing was going to get us excited. Truth is, we needed an outfielder. We also need another arm of the pen. So these types of things are important. Oh, yeah, of course. I mean, I will tell you right now, I think that there is stuff that could get us excited. I personally think that you could get excited for one more move, but I don't know if the Mets do it. And we'll talk about that move in a video later down the line this week. Thoughts on Santander? He may be in this week's video. And that's all I'm going to say. Same team as last year. No bat being Pete. Reports the Mets in Andrew Chafin. Yep. Saw that. Corbin and Woodruff could be traded at the deadline after this year. They have 1 year of control. I'm not really like, I don't think the Mets are desperate for pitching at this point. I think they're pretty much set in that matter. If they have to address it at the deadline, they could. But I think the main concern is the bats. That's what I think. I'm not happy with this lineup. I don't think that it's enough compared to a lot of the other teams in the division. And I don't know. Maybe they're just looking to, do that. I think Billy has to really eye the deadline for the big move, and that's what really concerns me also, because what did he do last year at the deadline? He didn't make that big move. So I think that he's very satisfied with this team. I don't know why he is. It looks like Steve Cohen isn't, because he obviously made those mentions of the Mets needing one more piece to put them over the top. But I don't know. Listen, with Billy Epler, there's some things all about him I like, and there's some things I don't. I'm just kind of neutral with him. But, if he's, if he does something, if he's talking about stuff I don't really like, then, I'm going to tell you. You think Ohtani being traded this deadline? I think it depends on where the Angels are. If the Angels are winning, then they're probably going to keep him for the rest of the year. But even if Ohtani does get moved, he's going to probably test free agency, and he'd be stupid not to. He'd be stupid not to, obviously. That being the whole situation where I don't think a potential, $480 million, $500 million contract gets done before he hits free agency. I think there's definitely a huge conditions that are going to go into that contract. Yeah, he is an incredible player, but we'll see what happens. Oh man. Oh, Twitter. Ridiculous. Okay. All right, we have quite the crowd in here. So for those of you who haven't voted on the poll, give us your thoughts on the Tommy Pham signing. You can do that. Yeah, links are in the description. You can follow us on Twitter if you haven't already. Hit the like button. That'd be greatly appreciated. If you have not seen the latest episode of the Mets Weekly podcast, it was posted on Monday this week, even though it's a regular Sunday podcast. Talked about, obviously, Carlos Correa going to the Twins. We talked about their interest in Tommy Pham, and it looks like it's real interest because they just fucking signed him. And then we also talked about an outlook for Francisco Alvarez this year, and it looks like we did get somewhat of an answer. And that's a grain of salt coming from Martino. That's just how it is. But Duvall had one big year surrounded by. Duvall was on my free agents to avoid list earlier this offseason. I made a video about 8 free agents the Mets should avoid, and Duvall was, I think, the first one I talked about. I'm not a big fan of Adam Duvall. I don't think it's a good fit. But I mean, he goes to Boston. I think that that's probably a good park for him, to be honest, because he's a huge dead pull hitter. So, always injured though. Do you think there's a trade out there that Billy is working on? I hope so. I really hope so. I'm crossing my fingers that he does do it. But I don't know. Something from that press conference yesterday where he was talking about how he's confident and how deep this lineup is. I don't know. I didn't see much of Pham. Is feeling decent, average, slightly above average. He's serviceable, I'd say, in the corners. That's about it. He's definitely not a defensive specialty type of fourth outfielder. If you're going to bring him in, he's more of an offensive outfielder. Nonetheless, he's not amazing at it. He's definitely declined in production from what he was a few years ago. This was a back in St. Louis when he was a little bit younger. This was a consistent 130 bat. He had that incredible season in 2017. Went over to the Rays. It did. He repeated that type of production. And now he's just a little bit older now, and he's kind of just fitting to that fourth outfielder. I'm not saying the praises with this one. His specialty is against left-handed pitching, so it's possible that maybe he is there instead of Canna because Canna kind of has those reverse splits. He does hit the ball hard. We do like that, I guess. He'll pop you your 10 to 15 homers a year. But I wouldn't get excited about his defense. Defense is about, serviceable to below average. He's not incredible. I'd say that, the best position that you probably can put him in is left field. That's what you're looking at. I would not put him in center field. That's another thing. I don't know. I think that the Mets had the opportunity to aim younger with this position. He could pinch hit. That's another thing he could do. I think the Mets had an opportunity to aim a little bit younger with this, but they just keep signing the older guys. So I don't know. We'll see. They're really banking on this farm system being good in a few years. So see what they do. There's definitely a lot of question marks that need to be answered. So we'll see. Currently, the Mets, I'm pretty sure, have 39 players on their 40-man roster right now. So I think Pham will probably slide right in there. Yep, Duvall signed with the Red Sox. Yep. Yeah, we talked about that. I think Boston's a good place for Duvall, but I'm not the biggest fan of him, so I'm not really pissed. Thoughts on Arendio Rosarena? Yeah, there were some reports about a lot of teams liking him. It doesn't look like that Tampa wants to move him, but I mean, if the Mets want him, why not? And hits tanks. Good player. I don't think he's the ideal DH. That ideal bat, but he's a good player. I give him that. Randy Rosarena. Ben Gamble, Tapia, Peralta, and Profar are still out there. I think Profar is probably the top dog here, and I think he wants a starting job, so that's why he's kind of holding out with that situation. I think that the trade market's probably the best bet for the Mets right now. Okay. Also, Chafin and Britton and Waka and Granke are still out there. Oh yeah, I mean, there's still some guys that you can get on a value. Nothing crazy, but I mean, that's pretty much it. Sanchez and Chapman. Yeah, I mean, there's still guys out there. Nothing crazy. But guys who are going to be the low risk, high reward at best type of pieces. Yeah, offseason's starting to wind down, and we're starting to get into spring. Pitchers and catchers report in about a month. Randy hasn't done much since that first playoff month. No, I disagree. He's definitely played very well. Ever since then. You want me to? I mean, he hasn't done anything as of beast note, but he's still been a highly productive player, especially offensively. Ever since that 2021 season. Let's see, slash line 268, 341, 452, 126 WRC plus, 6-win player. No, excuse me, 3-win player. And he's also projecting pretty well. Definitely a bat I would definitely add to the bottom of this lineup. Absolutely. He's also fast as a hyena, as we all know. Also can swipe you your 25 bags as well. So, much needed speed if you were to add him. What do you think of McNeil going in on the arbitration hearing? We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that actually in another video about possible extensions. But I think, it happens with all of these players. We had JD Davis do this about twice. Pete Alonso had one of these holdouts before. I think that a lot of people are realizing that he is a second baseman. It's a position that can be very airtight when it comes to the possibilities of what they do get paid. It's a less valuable position compared to guys like shortstop and third base and outfield. So yeah, that's kind of what we're looking at. I understand he does play multiple positions, but once again, I mean, for those of you here's the thing about McNeil. McNeil, he's 30, right? He's not young, so it's not going to be a full-on hot commodity. Even though he's a great player, I don't think he gets paid what people are expecting McNeil to get paid. That's just one of those situations where I don't think you're definitely going to be shocked if the Mets were to extend a guy like Jeff McNeil. And we'll talk about that in a video that features the guy to my right. What's going on? How do you feel about this shit?
He's cool, but if we get Andrew Chafin, I'll feel a lot better.
I will feel a lot better if we do get Andrew Chafin.
If they went cheap for the fourth outfielder to give the extra money to Chafin, I'll feel a lot better than I do right now. Of all the people available, why him? And the fact that Duvall got $1 million more plus $3 million of incentive, I would have rather had that, and we didn't want that either. But not a fan. Not a fan. He had 19 homers last year in Great American Small Park in Boston. So not a guy where I don't even give a shit, to be honest, about the locker room crap. I don't. But just punching Jock Peterson. I mean, Jock Peterson kills the Mets, so let's punch in the face. But fighting over fantasy football. This is the guy we brought in. The guy that fights over fantasy football.
I don't need. I don't know. I think that this is definitely. There's a lot of. I think that overall he could contribute to this roster as, a fourth outfielder. I think that that's definitely a good spot for him. But the guy needs to behave himself. He really does. And for one thing, he has played in these small markets, St. Louis, Tampa Bay. San Diego's definitely got up to the market recently, but going to Boston or Cincinnati, these small markets he's played for, he's in New York now. So if he does something that is not nice or not good, that doesn't rub well with the front office or with anybody in that locker room, you're going to hear about it. And he's going to get, completely ran out of town if he does something stupid. I'm just saying. It's a warning. Mets fans do not take lightly to this. So I'm going to tell you right now, if he's not going to behave himself, then it's going to be a problem. But you know what? That's just assumptions. That's just based off of past stuff that we got. But you know what? I don't know. I wouldn't have done this. I'm going to tell you right now, I would not have done this. But you know what? It's a fourth outfielder. I feel like every year we're like, oh, it's better than the guy we had last year. but then it's like, whatever. He's like an increment better. Is he better than Naquin? Sure, but like, that's about it. That's really what we're all looking at right now.
I mean, again, in FanGrade, if we're just looking at it again, he's better against lefties for his career, which is true. He is good against lefties for his career, but he's age 36 now, 35. He'll be age 35 this season. Like, and of course, I told you last night, let's not record the last video last night. Let's just wait for tomorrow. No, we wasted fucking 40 minutes on a video that had all better options than this guy to be that fourth outfielder. But
well, I'm not confident in them getting really a power bat at all. So I think that video is going to be good for all week, and then obviously we have another one for that.
That just goes into the ether. I mean, yeah. He does do what the Mets need, and that's hit lefties. But I just don't want. He's just not the guy. I mean, and I'm not. And here's my thing: I'm not one of these guys. Get a bat, get it. There's no bats to go get, but like Profar's still out there. Like, and I get it. Mancini wanted the starting job. Duvall wanted a full-time starting job. That's why they went elsewhere. Probably the same thing with Profar. He's looking for a starter job. But hell, I'd rather overpay for Jerks and Profar to be this than sign Tommy Pham. I'd rather give him $14 to $15 million a season to be a versatile fourth outfielder, but probably playing majority of the time because, again, Canna is the big, we're concerned with Canna. He'll end up getting the spots in left field. So I don't know what Epler's, he wants to go cheap. If at the end of the day we get Andrew Chafin, I'll feel a lot better. If we end up with Zach Britton, we're going to get a different reaction. But at least we saw finally the Mets correlating this to Andrew Chafin. And it's, again, if you put Chafin in this pen, the Mets are building, they want to be a pitching and defense team. That's pretty much what they're now telling you. They don't want to go get that big bat. They want to win with pitching and defense. Shorting games in the bullpen with the rotation. Is it going to work? We'll see. But that's what they're telling you. That's just like the 2015 team. They are pitching. They had shitty defense in 2015. What the fuck am I talking about? But I don't know. But I think that's what the preference is. Yeah, dumbass. It's fucking, it's 12:30. It's early. It's early for me. Run around all morning. But
it's 33 in the morning, man.
It's 3 in the morning. But besides the point, that's what they want to be. They want to be well pitched, and they want to have good defense, which they do have very good defense. And if they get Andrew Chafin, their bullpen's getting better. Pitching rotation, we'll see. There's a bunch of question marks. Really no depth. We haven't seen some more depth rotation moves. But besides the point, again, I get Andrew Chafin, and then pull a Chris Bassett type deal where, like, there's nobody on the market, and there's out of nowhere, there's a magic trade. I think there's still a possibility of that happening. For who? I don't know. But I do think there's a chance that still happens, like, a week before spring training starts. There's a random, or hell, during spring training, pitching, catching, reporting, a random trade out of nowhere that none of us see happening. I still think that's possible. But the fact that they want to add that pitching, one more pitcher and more bat, well, is that fourth outfielder. Now let's see if they can finish it off with Chafin.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I just get fucking power. Get power. Oh my god.
He hit 19 homers last year.
I know he hit 19 homers. Yeah, in these freaking bandbox shit, but it's just like the dude's like 35 years old. I mean, and it's just making this team even older than it is. It's just
this team is drawing.
I'm not gonna fully get pissed off about it, but I mean, it's a fourth outfielder. You're not gonna expect this guy to be an elite player. He was an elite player a few years ago, which apparently is this big thing, especially when we traded 4 assets for Darren Ruff, because he was an elite guy a few years ago in the KBO. So that just
speaking of, who's the roster move to get Pham on the roster?
They currently have 39 guys.
When did they cut to about 439? I know Woods was for what's it called? Was for
they have 39 guys right now. That was the count that I had.
Oh, because Correa. Oh, you take Correa. Yeah, okay. Because Correa was the okay.
Yeah.
No roster move yet.
Listen, we're replacing. Yeah, listen. You put Tommy Pham on there, replacing Correa. That's pretty much the same thing. So
hey, he almost has many homers. I mean, that's what you want. Power.
Yeah.
Gray only had 22.
Exactly.
Oh man, what do I look like?
Although I wanted Duvall more. Pham's a solid pickup. Hearing the Mets are in deep discussions with Chafin. If the Mets signed Chafin, Mets would have the best bullpen in all of the MLB. I mean,
I'd probably still say
I wanted Duvall more. I didn't want Duvall. I didn't want Pham either.
I didn't want either of these guys. I wanted like Profar.
I didn't really want either of these guys. I wanted them to go a little bit younger, but whatever.
Younger.
Again, that's just how it is. If the Mets signed Chafin, they would have the best bullpen in all the MLB. I kind of disagree with that, but
I got probably the Yankees, the Dodgers, probably younger and better pens, and they just develop better.
Yankees have a nice pen. Yankees do have a nice pen.
Tampa Bay, they have the. Let me rephrase it. I think the way you're looking at, they have the best names. Bullpen.
They do have the best
quality.
Names. Yes,
they have the best names, stuff, and actual ability. I think there's better teams out there, but the Mets would have the best group of names out there in the league. I think you could say that. The Rays have these JP Fireheisen that went to the Dodgers, didn't give up a run all year. Like the Rays just make that kind of like the Brewers, not really anymore. They used to again earlier in this decade, yes, but the Yankees, you got Maruccio and Lasagna and all those guys. They just Clay Holmes.
Yeah, name a bullpen better. Yankees definitely don't have a better pen than the Mets. I disagree. I think they have a really good bullpen, and I don't think people are talking about that. They have a good rotation as well.
The rotation is again, like the Yankees kind of have like a Rays bullpen now, where like they just have a bunch of like they don't have like the Chapmans and Britons.
They have some really
like the Mets have what the Yankees. Like the Mets have the Yankees 2017 bullpen, where it's like they have all the brand names, which are still good. But like the Yankees have become the Rays now. That all these guys coming out of absolutely nowhere, just throwing 100 and just being elite. Same thing with anything.
Whatever happened to Scott Effrost? Did he get hurt or something?
Effrost was. I think he missed time in the second half. I know he missed at least. He was on the
Effrost is disgusting. Clay Holmes and Jonathan Loizico. Those are your top.
And then Maruccio
right there.
Hell, they got rid of. They left Steven Writing's unavailable. That's how deep their pet is. They let him fucking get loose. The Mets picked him up. So maybe the Mets can bring him in and be like. Replace Drew Smith, please. That's Dayoka's job, but I mean that's Dayoka's job. But
Luke
again, I think the Mets
pretty good when he's throwing strikes. Tommy Kahnle is a really solid arm when he's healthy. Michael King, that was a huge loss for them last year.
Yeah, that was They just have a bunch of just guys throw 100.
Like, they're nasty as hell.
I mean, again, the Mets do have a good group, but again, it's
they do have a good group. Yeah,
the best closer in baseball, 2 37-year-old plus year old veterans, Rayleigh Sex and Chafin would be Sex. I mean, it's a good group. I mean, again, it's up there, but I just think we prefer the younger guys who just all throw 100.
I'm not
freaking disgusting. Like,
listen, I'm not looking to have the best bullpen in baseball and just be like, oh well, on paper this is better. So yeah. That means we're great. It's all about how they perform. So
again, they have the best reliever in baseball. So that starts of you're going to be up there just cause, and then you bring in Rayleigh and then bring Otto and Robertson.
We don't know what relievers are going to be. So that's just how it is.
And we're talking about relievers here. Like David Robertson can just fall off at age 39. So can Ottavino. Ottavino had an amazing year. He could turn into Aaron Loop like he did last year.
Don't be saying that. Don't be saying that.
Well, you know what's going to happen. Come on. We don't live in fairyland. We live in actual reality here.
No.
Okay, I don't know what this is, but I don't know if you guys have seen Puss in Boots. I look like how white I look. I look like the wolf from Puss in Boots: The Last Wish right now. And I kind of like it, but I kind of don't. I don't know. It's just random thoughts. This is, again, I've literally just been running around all morning. So, and I'm probably going to have to leave in like 15. So if you wanted to come in and just yell a little bit about this, because you've already gone for 40 and carrying the team as always. The Mets have a big move coming. I wouldn't say big move. I think it could be like I don't know how people would react if they do move.
It's going to be out of the blue if it does happen.
I mean, I could think of some random like names who maybe could be out there, like a Verdugo. We heard maybe like that's an option, but I don't think that's splashy enough.
I hope it's Darren Ruff, my friend. I really do.
I hope it's I hope it's Austin Riley. That's who I hope it is. That's in my opinion. That's who
I need it to be on his own team, but it needs to be, Pham's punch out.
Maybe Tomas Nido to give Francisco Alvarez his job. Maybe.
Yeah, what do you feel about that? That's like, I mean, to be honest, I'm okay with it. I'm actually okay with it because, like, I don't want him being a DH up here. And I mean, you agree with that. I mean, they cannot have this guy up here just to hit. He needs to be a catcher.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
you're playing with thin ice. Like, you're playing with real thin ice if you're going to be doing that.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a world down the line, maybe he could be the full-time DH because we do have another catching prospect coming who was ranked number 3 overall in baseball. 4? I think it was 3. His name was Alvarez, Diego, and I think it was Parada for the new 2023 pipeline. But besides the point, right now he needs to be a catcher. So I do like that him and Beatty most likely, which I prefer Beatty on the big league roster, but it's a video. Maybe I don't know if we're going to make another Beatty video, but I do want to see both of them playing every day. And if that means playing in AAA to begin the season, fine. And when people realize Eduardo Escobar's just not that good, he had one good month, and y'all think he's, the second coming of, Optimus Prime coming through. Like, he's a solid, he's an average player. That's what he was. But, like, he had a good last month, so everyone thinks he's better than Mike Trout.
I mean, it's just the recency bias. That's just pretty much it. But, you're gonna get hit with reality. And I don't know if anybody noticed this, but for a majority of the season, the dude was terrible. He was awful. People wanted this dude off the team. They wanted to call up Beatty from AA. That's how bad this dude was. Mets added great locker room guys. This is that move kind of an X out of it. I saw something about how the Mets liked what they saw with the whole locker room shit.
Martino.
Did Martino say that? So we're gonna have another raccoon type of situation. But you know what?
But
listen, if he brings the fire, he brings the fire. Whatever. I mean,
let me get back to, I guess, Alvarez and Beatty to an extent.
Yeah.
Especially with catchers. They're going to get injured. So, Nito is going to... I don't know if Nito is going to play for Team Puerto Rico. I don't know. Is he?
I hope so. I want to see Alvarez.
I don't think they got a bunch. They have, like, Vasquez. Is going to what?
I hope so. I want to see Alvarez in spring training.
I mean, yeah, you're going to see a ton of them, but we all know the catching position is grueling, and they're going to be there's going to be an injury. And I mean, if Alvarez does what we think he's in AAA, he just goes down to the first month and just starts raking, and Nito is doing what Tomas Nito always does, and that's barely hit his weight. You're going to see Alvarez pretty soon and take over that job if Narvaez, who I think can have a nice quality, productive offensive catcher, I think he can be decent. And if that, I'd rather have that be the platoon. I would have traded Nito with McCann. Not in the same trade, but I would have moved Nito already to say, you know what? You have the veteran with the kid, with Narvaez and Alvarez, and that's the catching platoon. I get Tomas Nito's one, if not the best, one of the best defensive catchers in baseball. But I want one of the best offensive catchers in baseball, and I can give a rat's ass about the defense. But
he does have good defense.
Good to have in case of emergencies. We love to have emergencies.
He does have good defense, so stop with that spite deal.
Again,
okay?
Everybody's
talking about defense. He had great defense.
Would you let? He's a sorry.
No, I'm coming for your head today.
What?
I'm for your head today, bitch.
I'm not. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. I barely woke up. But again, if both of the kids are playing in AAA, gives us something. We'll have to buy the minor league package again just to watch them before they get called up. And Parada and Jet. But again, I think this is they're being conservative. I prefer a little more aggressiveness, but you don't want to turn them into Desmond Lindsay or Lastings Millage where you just rush them and you ruin them. So let the kids develop, let them break in AAA. You're going to see them at some point this year, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's pretty early.
They both had limited at bats in AAA. So let them do it, whatever. Hopefully it's the confidence boosts,
Let's see anything else from passing. Just achieving that.
Making sure. For those of you in here, if you haven't liked the stream, please do. Be greatly appreciated.
I guess, did you talk about the new top 100 about the Mets having a bunch of guys on Baseball America tonight?
Yep, I did say stuff about that. Kodai Senga's a prospect now, I guess.
Well, technically, he hasn't played in the big leagues.
True, but the he's what, 28?
They did the same thing with Ohtani. He was a prospect until he made his big league debut.
Oh, yeah, but he went through the minor league system.
No, he didn't.
Didn't he?
No, he came right to the big league, just like Ohtani, just like Senga.
Who went through the minor league system then? Who was the fucker that did that? I guess he did go right to the big leagues. Then who am I thinking of?
I don't know. But
Juan
again,
Soto,
I'm not.
Maybe?
So, yeah, Soto's because he got signed in the national
Soto's
draft.
an international spot. Yeah.
Remember, the statement. He won Soto Double-A. Yeah, Soto went through Double-A and absolutely killed it.
I guess I got my pending free agents. How is Tommy P? He's an asshole, but he's good for what the role is. Maybe Kawaja, the Yankees. Ego.
But again, I just get Andrew Chafin. I think that's just the finish. Give me Chafin and then make that Chris Bassett trade. We're like, oh shit, we didn't see that coming. Oh, I don't know where in like a couple weeks. That's pretty much, I guess, how they want to finish the offseason. Because if
I think we'll do a video about the whole. I think we did a video about Beatty and his role. I think we should talk about Alvarez now because of that report. About that a little bit.
But all right, just want to make sure there's anything last second. Want to check before we head out of here. Well, I gotta hop out of here. I don't know how much longer you're gonna stay on.
I'll probably stay on for like about 10 more minutes off because it's Tommy Pham,
It's Tommy, the elite Tommy Pham.
Tommy Pham.
Just check one last Twitter check, and then I gotta get up and I gotta go again.
For those of you
follow us
watching
on Twitter.
Playback, follow us on Twitter if you haven't. Like the stream if you haven't already. There's quite a few of you in here. Hit the poll. Let us know what you guys think. Right now we have 48% leading the way with neutral, 34% like it, and 17% don't like it. Ruff cannot be on this roster to start the season. Couldn't agree more. I think I think they should have just vetoed the trade the time that they traded him, to be honest. Dude's horrible.
Wouldn't mind a Giants going in my bag, but yeah, again, there's really not much to say. It's a fourth outfielder who's in locker room cancer, and yeah, pretty much it. Maybe he gets left-handed pitching, which that's need. Not the best option, but an option. 35-year-old former Cardinal, so that's something. They give away talent, but I don't know. Just don't choke Lindor, please. I already have an idiot that's done that before. Please.
But other than that, I think we're just gonna hop off here. For those of you who have not liked the stream yet, please do. It's free. Go ahead, subscribe if you haven't already. All the links are in the description. We do some TikToks occasionally. Follow us on Twitter for all of daily Mets content. We will have a few videos coming out this week. We'll have one about the future of Alonso and McNeil, and then we'll also have one about some possible power bats that the Mets desperately need to add. And we're not suggesting it; we're telling them to do it. But yeah, for those of you, one more time, Tommy Pham is signed with the Mets for 1 year, $6 million. It's a move. Nonetheless, you added.
Hey,
here's your fourth outfielder.
Hey, he's a person.
He's your person. Okay. The Mets do more. We're not done yet. Yeah, that's it. We'll see you guys next time. Let's go Mets. Peace out. And BK's have it your way. Stop showing that commercial, please.